Welcome to Constantly Calibrating, everyone. I'm your host, Brad. We have our regular crew back in full this week, and we're doing an E3 Roundup Part 2. We're going to be a little more topical with it this week. But I have back this week Ryan.
What's up?
And Justin.
Hey, yeah, that should be a question.
Yeah, you seemed confused whether he was here.
So to clarify, I'm watching the live video, and I didn't realize I didn't have Skype up in front of me, so I was like, why do I not see them responding? I'm confused. So, and of course, we have Josh.
Of course, we have Josh. My favorite. So here's the thing: you always introduce yourself as host Brad. I'm really hoping one day we have a guest named Brad on, so I can be like, "I'm host Brad, and here's guest Brad."
I don't even know where we'll go with that. So, anyway,
I'm telling you where we're going.
To the moon. We're going to the moon. That's my dad answer. Whenever we
landed on the moon.
Woo! Whenever the kid asks, "Where are we going?" To the moon. Where's it at? On the moon.
I just threw out both of my shoulders, putting my hands above my head. Ow.
Yay?
No, yay, it hurts. Continue.
So, unless we have anything we want to touch on really quick about concerning E3 last week, we touched on a lot of specific games. I want to bring up a question, and it has to do with something we saw during the show. Last week we saw the first inklings of true cross-platform play, being presented via Minecraft and Rocket League. Now, we're having a little bit of controversy following that with Sony, because they're not on board.
Mm-mm.
And they're how do I say this? They're loosely tossing shade at the other platforms as a way of getting out of it.
Yeah, pretty much. And also, their reasoning for not doing it makes no goddamn sense.
Which, the funny thing is, if I'm correct, Sony actually was the first one to suggest cross-platform play years ago.
Yeah, they are the original one to suggest it. That's what everyone keeps pointing at. And it wasn't just they were the first to suggest it. Like, their reasoning behind it is literally the same exact fucking thing that Microsoft has now put forth. The problem is, and I think what it boils down to, so their reasoning is they claim that their platform is essentially is more secure for children versus Xbox Live is what they're kind of claiming, which is, my God, and versus Nintendo, that's why they don't want to be part of it because they can't trust it, which is idiotic. It really boils down to the reason why Sony suggested it years ago, but is now saying no since Microsoft's proposing it, purely boils down to they want more money. If they were suggesting it and it went through originally, they would have tried to probably put it under the Sony banner and perfectly through there. So I don't know why they can't find some way to intermingle games to work. Wife, person. That phone's muted, by the way. It literally says a symbol on it. So I don't know why they can't figure that shit out. I'm gonna go answer that phone.
That's the thing is, they figured it out before. They already did cross-platform play with Xbox and PC, haven't they?
Yeah, but like this is the only people to not make it a true, complete ecosystem this time is Sony. Like they've got I think they even have iOS on board in some cases, but they definitely have some form of mobile on board. They have Nintendo on board, they have Xbox on board, they have PC on board.
Nintendo on board is the one that shocked me, especially with how they always want to protect their audience.
I think it's easy because you have to have like at least 2 years of a college degree to figure out how to use online services for Nintendo.
This is accurate.
I don't know. I like my friend code. It's easy to remember because I memorized pi.
So I don't like friend codes, right? But all of this brings me to my actual topical question: is how long until true 100% cross-platform play is just basically expected and not questioned of whether a game will have it anymore, or will we ever hit that point?
I think we're super far off from that. Like, Sony's a good example of why it's, there's always going to be that one person that doesn't cooperate, and it's going to just be that situation of one bad apple is going to ruin the bunch, because really I think Sony is just kind of like that kid in school who had like an idea and nobody wanted to do it, And then, like a couple weeks later, everybody's like, "Well, why don't we do this?" And he's like, "Well, I don't want to do that. That sounds stupid." Because everybody wants to do it now.
Pretty much. No, I mean that is literally what it boils down to.
Could we get to the point where developers say, we're designing everything from the ground up to be cross-platform. If you want us to be on your system, you'll be cross-platform. And could they force Sony's hand maybe that way, do you think?
They would not give up their sales profit for that.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to not put your game on one of the biggest install bases?
I don't want to put any games on PlayStation right now because I'm pissed at them.
Well, that's a whole lot of bankroll you're missing out right there.
Well, money talks, but Sony loses that money too.
And Sony's still walking.
They are.
So, I mean, what it ultimately boils down to is Sony, I feel like eventually is going to come around, but there's going to be some huge thing about it. I mean, it's the same thing that's going on right now. Sony as just a company, it's not even just the PlayStation brand. Like, Sony has already, this week? Has anyone seen what's going on with the Spider-Man versus Venom movies?
No.
So, Kevin Feige, who's behind, I think it's his name, right, is behind the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe. He made a statement that the Venom movies, the Black Cat stuff, all that stuff going on with Sony has nothing to do with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Tom Holland's Spider-Man will not be appearing in those movies because that's a separate thing, and they're going to exist outside the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And then Amy Pascal, producer on Spider-Man Homecoming, with Kevin Feige right there, answered a question and straight up stated that of course Spider-Man at some point would be part of it, and it would, it would loosely tie into the Marvel Cinematic Universe while being its own separate thing. And Kevin literally is sitting there like aghast, like a look on his face, like, the fuck you talking about, bitch? Like, is the look on his face. It is really funny. Because obviously that's not a disgusting, because Sony makes their own goddamn rules, and even when they have signed contracts, they still make their own goddamn rules. So eventually, much like how this Marvel Cinematic thing is going to be figured out, Sony's going to come to terms with how to do the multi-platform thing once it's shown to be a profitable thing that they're losing money on. But it might take 5 years.
Again, they could also think it's like, man, Spider-Man did real well. We don't really need the rest of the Marvel, and then realize you have to reboot it again. Because they can't use that Spider-Man.
I think long-term, it's going to be a thing. I think probably by, if not the beginning of whatever the official next generation is, maybe middle of that time period, everything will be pretty much cross-platform. I think that Minecraft and Rocket League are the right steps to get the ball rolling. What you need to see next is you need to see a major player like EA or Activision on board with one of their prime franchises to push it too.
That's the problem, though. It has to be something that's more control-based, because you don't want to see your first-person shooter be cross-platform. That just won't do well against...
That's not the first thing you want to do. Like, they can test that ground again at some point, but that is not the first one they do.
But something like Madden makes a lot of sense. I know we're not sports guys, but to see Madden cross-platform and have these massive leagues, that makes a lot of sense.
I think with what they're starting off with, that's not too bad of an idea either, because, I mean, Minecraft is such a huge thing on its own. It's not super technical either, so you can kind of have it going across the different platforms pretty easily. I'm kind of surprised they're actually doing Rocket League, though, because Rocket League's got a little bit of flash to it,
I was surprised to see Rocket League on the Switch, period.
Oh, yeah. Like, I don't know how they would do that. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love my Switch and everything, and it's a lot better than what it was with some of the other systems, but it's still not a technical powerhouse by any means, Yeah. So, like Schmoop was saying in our chat, PC Master Race forever.
Oh.
It's amazing. Like, the developers want this, too. I forget who said exactly what they said. Was it from Rocket League saying, like, they could have cross-platform up in an hour if they...
Yeah, it was Rocket League. They said it would literally take us an hour to have it up and running. The Rocket League devs. So that's my question. Like, we've thought it was a technical issue for years, but if people can have it running that fast, they've let the rabbit out of the hat, or the cat's out of the bag, whatever you want to say. you can't really put it back in. The consumers know it's there now, at least to some extent. We always just thought it was an impossibility for whatever reason, be it, people not playing nice or technical issues or money. This case, I think it's just money now. So,
well, and people not playing nice.
Well, Sony's not playing nice because they want money.
Don't they all though? Yeah, with the cross-platform stuff though, like, again, it's pretty cool that it's starting to happen, but I think we're a long, long way off before it'll ever be, something that's kind of a big market thing where you have to have this in your game. It has to be a part of it before, it'll be worth anything to anybody to play, I
don't think it'll ever be like a requirement standard, but I think it will be a standard expectation of the consumer at some point.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah. Like right now, if I get a game that has multiplayer, I expect to be able to set up parties. I expect to be able to, chat with them, or whether it's voice chat or typing or whatever. Those are the expectations that we have right now. If I get a new game, my expectation is not that I'll be able to play against somebody on the PlayStation, not just because they're holding out, but that's just not something that is a thing. Yeah. But with big cross-platform titles that are already out. And the ones that are coming out, like Destiny 2. If Destiny 2 is cross-platform, we could all not bitch about anything because, the people who just have Xbox Ones or Scorpios or whatever, or Xbox One S's, or PS4s or PC, everybody can kind of get on it and everybody can get at it.
Yeah.
That's no fair. PC players get keyboard and mouse when it comes to... I already forget what the Destiny thing's called.
I think that's something else that we'll see as a result of this, though. I think we'll see a more standard integration of keyboard and mouse on consoles because of this, and probably USB headsets.
Yeah, I think both of those can be done, already has been done. Like, it's compatible with them.
I think, but like, we'll see something more akin to maybe like Razer or Corsair picking up the ball and saying, our Black Widow or our whatever the Corsair keyboard is now works on, Xbox and PlayStation. And that's a good direction. Like, it gives you the option, whether it's needed for gaming or not. It's nice to have the input option.
So it's a little off topic real quick, but, talking about keyboard and mouse versus controller people, everybody says that keyboard and mouse is better, but have you guys seen the thing about the Grandmaster Lucio player? Who started off on a console, and he was just really, really good with Lucio and just kicking ass. He made it all the way up to Grandmaster in the competitive ranks. His name's DPS Stanky, or DSP Stanky, excuse me.
Mm-hmm. Of course it is.
Of course it is. That's definitely a Lucio name. But yeah, and people were giving him a hard time. He was like, yeah, well, you'd never make it on a PC at all. So the guy bought a PC, got everything set up, started off at the very bottom, learned how to play with a mouse and keyboard, and now he's like one of the best Lucio players there is, to the point where was playing competitively for a while, and then he just kind of stopped because it wasn't fun for him anymore, which I wish I was that good at a game that I could make a decision like that.
Wow. Just the One Punch Man of damn Overwatch.
Yeah, so sorry to get off topic.
No, we need to move on to the next one anyways. Who had topic number 2?
That was me. So... Right. We, this is our second E3 show, and we're coming up on the tail end of all E3 shows of all time. So everything big has been talked about. So I think it would be really cool to talk about some of the smaller things, like some of the indie games that are coming out. But first, I want to talk about one of the smaller presentations that not a lot of people saw. Did you guys see the Devolver Digital presentation?
I saw the clip of it, and Josh just talked about it a little bit. What I watched, I didn't understand. Like, I was not sure what was going on.
It was basically one huge avant-garde like comedy sketch, just showing how ridiculous things are in the gaming industry, and like they took it to the extreme. It was kind of like watching the Eric Andre show of E3. I mean, from everything from the presenter that they had set up for it, with the gun and her just acting crazy and being super disrespectful to everybody, to the little setup where the guy was interacting with the game by physically throwing money at the screen and it would actually show up in their bank account, like through the screen.
That's funny.
Yeah, I'm not really feeling super artsy and technical, and I want to dig deep into it. But it's pretty fucking cool that they were able to, just take something and satirize it like that. Go ahead.
Do you think it was planned this way? Because I was under the impression that
absolutely.
I was under the impression that they actually were going to have a real conference at first, and they like got angry or got tired of seeing the other presentations and decided to change at the last minute.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that at all. But no, there's no possible way. That had a lot of production value for it. There's no way they could have done that last minute if it was something they were planning on doing for real and then decided to do that. I don't think there's any way they could do that. But Devolver Digital's always had such a big thing going against E3. Not necessarily against it, but there's always been some clashing for it, because the people who set up E3, they got partnerships with the city. They've got partnerships with everybody that is, presenting and everything, and everybody pays money to do it. Right. And since forever, Devolver Digital has been setting up at I think it's like a Hooters restaurant parking lot, like a block away. And that's where they do their presentation and stuff for the past couple of years.
Wow.
So it's like punk rock indie game kind of stuff. But this year there was actually some flack for that. Let's see if I can find some more information for it. But basically they tried to get the really big parking lot next to the convention center where they're having E3 this year. And they rented out a parking lot.
Huh.
But they were going to have, everything set up, kiosks and people talking and presenting and, just a place for the developers to hang out with everything. But there's talk that the people from E3 kind of sabotaged them a little bit and got in touch with their contacts at the city. And the city told them they can only use that parking lot for parking vehicles. They can't use it for presentations or anything else like that.
That's
strange.
So
I saw a big article about it the other day, but of course I didn't save it because I'm stupid. But small games, some of the ones that I saw that I thought were pretty cool. Of course, South Park Phone Destroyer.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Absolutely. There's never been a point in my life where I'm like, I have to buy this mobile game. But when I saw everything for South Park Phone Destroyer, I have to buy this mobile game. And it's totally a brand loyalty thing. If it was anything else other than South Park, I probably wouldn't be that way. But with the way they've handled most of their properties, from I guess a couple years back forward, we'll forget about the N64 and PlayStation days. Chef's Love Shack was a great Jeopardy ripoff, though. I loved it.
Had a great intro song, too.
with as much effort as they've put into Stick of Truth and Fractured Butthole coming up, I feel like Phone Destroyer is probably going to be pretty awesome.
I didn't even consider that I might have to pay for it, but I will.
Oh yeah, I'd totally pay for it. And another thing, after they've reamed so much into the freemium cycle on that one episode with the Terrence and Phillip game, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yeah. After they ripped on that for so long, I'm interested to see kind of what kind of model they have, or if it's just going to be $15 for the game and that's it, or how it's going to work.
I don't know. I mean, that's a good point. Those guys are as crazy as they are, they're damn good businessmen. So yeah.
So other than that, Undertale's coming to different platforms, some more cross-platform action for you. I still haven't played a lot of Undertale, but the brief part that I've played, I really enjoyed it, and I just think it's cool that it's going to get out to other markets. There was one game, what was it called? Donut County?
Yep, Donut?
Something like that.
I missed that one.
Well, basically you play a hole in the ground.
What?
And it's like it's an adventure game. You just have to look it up. It's one of those games that's hard to explain. Yeah, it's called Donut County. It's a physics-based adventure game where you control a hole in the ground. You move around in different environments, and you get progressively larger, and you attempt to swallow up everything. So I think that sounds kind of cool.
So it's Katamari in reverse.
Yeah. So, did you guys have any small ones that you were interested in?
Well, I don't know if you can count them as a small one because it was on like a bigger conference, but yeah, it was like the biggest star of that conference was a way out from.
Yeah.
Oh man, I already lost what the studio was from it, but
EA.
still like. It's from EA, but the developers are...
It's the guys who did Brothers.
Brothers. I hate to just call them the guys that did Brothers. I'll find
That's
that out. That's
what everybody knows them as.
Yeah, sadly.
Hazel Light.
I can't tell if you made that up or telling the truth.
Yeah, Haze Light Studios.
Haze
Light Studios.
That sounds... Yeah, that's actually... That's it.
Yep. But it looks super awesome. It's kind of interesting, like, it's a game that co-op is required.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, it's cool, couch co-op or online. I love the way they handle everything, like, to get both sides of it. It's an interesting way to present the story, where you're still, like, playing one side while you're seeing something going on the other side.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it. Like, it's something that, I don't. It's cool to have a Prison Break game. It's even cooler to have a co-op Prison Break game.
Laura actually wants to play it. She's like, "What was that? When's that coming out?" I'm like, you're interested?" She's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay." I don't know. Maybe she's been watching too much Orange Is the New Black. I don't know.
Oh god, I'm so tired of Orange Is the New Black. I really am.
I don't know. I like it, but I have to take breaks.
Oh god, Kristen binges it. So, but I'm sorry to interrupt. Carry on.
Oh,
there's also like a lot of like things here and there during the Microsoft conference. I wish I could remember a name that one. It looks very Blade Runner-esque.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. And I can't remember the name of it either.
It's like it's like if you took like pixel art and tried to make it 3D. I guess. It has a little mix of both of that in there. But either ways, that one definitely caught my eye as well. I hate that I can't remember the name of it right now. I think it's like some basic name too. Sorry, I just saw something for Devolver Digital thing. I have to go watch that whole thing now.
Yup.
I love that it's only like 14 minutes too.
Oh, it was beautiful. It really is, and it's funny because they didn't use it to advertise any new games that are coming out. It's all stuff that's already been announced, stuff that's already good.
Josh, was there any small games or indie games that you picked up on that you wanted to wax on for a few seconds?
Oh, welcome to Constantly Calibrating, everybody. We love you
life.
all. It is life.
Life happens, deal with it. Anyways, small indie games of things of that nature. Not particularly. Like I've been really interested in that game Vampire from God, how do you say what's their name? Hold on. Let me just see. I just want to see Vampire developer. So it's Don't Nod Entertainment. So the people behind Life is Strange. We discussed that a little bit in brief on the last episode thing. So that interests me a bit. It's not quite indie, but it's still like on the lower key side of things. It's kind of an RPG with a morality system, and not not a binary one necessarily. You're a guy who's a vampire trying to also solve mysteries. Looks really cool. Otherwise, nothing really from E3. I honestly kind of missed a lot of my usual indie and smaller title stuff that I tend to see. This was as we discovered last week's show, Brad and I discovered, it was a very, oh my god, Ubisoft year more than anything else.
Yeah. As far as small stuff for me, I didn't catch it at this show, but I did see the new trailer for it. It was Bloodstain.
Bloodstain.
Yeah, it's the game from the creator of Castlevania. which is coming out next year still, I think. We've got a ways off.
March 2018, yeah.
I think I backed that.
I think you did too. I would be surprised if you did.
Sounds like something you would back.
But I'm still interested in it. It's looking a little more anime than I would have cared for it to. And it's very look at the Jubblies kind of anime. But the gameplay's still there, so I'll probably pick it up unless they just go over the top and make one of those weird like games that, you know, there's only 5 copies of at GameStop worldwide.
Fair enough, yeah.
My God, there's a password to find out.
There's a password. All right. So I think that'll cover us for the little stuff.
What topic are we even on now? Because I've been gone for a while.
We're on topic 2, like
we're on topic
unexpected
2, okay.
Small things that didn't get a lot of coverage, basically.
So my penis.
I mean, we don't talk about that anyways, so.
That you know of. This is like the 3rd time on this one podcast I brought it up. Oh.
You should see a doctor about that.
Yeah, I do.
Oh, God. This one's for the record books.
TinyWinnies.com. Not just a founder, but a member.
Would you like to see my member?
No.
So who had topic number 3?
Yeah,
Justin.
Oh, that's me.
Yeah, he's
like,
busy trying to log into Bloodstain.
I can't figure out which account I did it on, and I don't remember Bloodstain was a Kickstarter or Patreon. Anyways, topic number 3. We went from small things, so now we're kind of going for the big things. What is your biggest takeaway from E3? What is your game show?
So, okay, game of show. So it was game of show. And what was the first question?
Like, what was your biggest takeaway? I
Biggest
guess the game
takeaway-
show, same thing.
Yeah, so, well, biggest takeaway and biggest game of show could be totally different things. Biggest takeaway was the fact that Microsoft and a few other companies are pursuing this multi-platform thing. I mean, the biggest takeaway kind of was the drive, not just from them, but from many companies, the drive for inclusiveness and diversity kind of thing, but not doing quite what the comic book world has been doing for years, which is just slamming diversity into everything and forcing it in a way that's not conducive to a lot of their properties. The gaming stuff, well, DC even has had a tendency to do it too. I mean, pretty much every comic company has done. I don't know why comic mediums have been the main format to do that, but it feels like a cash-in versus like an actual drive for inclusiveness, and for people to feel like they're part of things. Gaming this year felt very much more like that, but it was in the sense of I'm playing a game in Egypt, ergo, you know, I'm a person who looks like I'm from that area and that era. Things like, you know, this game makes sense for you to be you have to choose between a man and woman, ergo that option's there. This game makes sense for you to be a female character. You're a female character. Like there's logic in how things are chosen and how things are done.
Instead of just throwing the character in just to pander to everybody who complains.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel like a pandering. It feels like it makes logical sense for the game, but it also shows you a breadth of their catalogs that they can still have the white male games and stuff like that, but they also do have the other options, and it doesn't feel like they're taking away from other things. I know people on both sides are going to complain that there's too much inclusiveness and there's too much diversity and blah, 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 ham-fisted job, yada, 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 and then the people who have been, you know, oppressed in the medium for a while are going to look at it and be like, there's not enough of this. And, you know, white guy, maybe I'm not the one to speak on this, but I feel like this E3 was, my takeaway of this E3 was a nice step forward.
Yeah.
In that regard.
I haven't followed as much as I normally do with like the social media and stuff, but it doesn't seem like there was as much backlash against the lack of diversity this year either.
Mm-mm.
There was some, but it definitely wasn't as bad. I have friends who I really don't need. I legitimately wonder if they could ever be appeased on things like. No, just that, and there's nothing wrong with that. They've been not marketed to for most of their lives. It's understandable, but I wonder if they would ever anything would actually get them on that side of things to think like, oh, you know what, that's a good job. But even they seemed a little bit like, okay, like kind of like, okay, here's everything you did wrong, but that 2% was okay. Like, but like, which is a positive thing, I feel like.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But no, I mean, we saw that with the presentations. We saw that with the presenters. Ubisoft actually was... did anybody ever call it Ubisoft? Like, for like, hey, they're putting their developers first and trying to put them in the spotlight?
No, I'm sure some places definitely made a write-up or something about it, but I haven't really seen much in the way of that. But I mean, Ubisoft definitely was putting their devs forward.
Like, it wasn't great for
but, like,
getting your
totally see,
message
like, all the
across.
support.
But yeah, just the fact like they were letting the devs talk about their games, and the fact that they brought everybody on stage that works on them, that was in the audience, I thought it was a pretty cool touch.
Yeah, it was one of those things that kind of slowed the show down a little bit, but it also was a really nice touch. I mean, I think all of us at this point have remarked on the creative director of Mario+Rabbids, sitting in the audience, with tears in his eyes. We've all, made some comment here or there about it. So
it's like you love it. You actually love it.
Mm-hmm. The excitement.
Yeah, probably can't imagine how hard that guy's been working on that game too.
Not only that, to get Miyamoto to come out with holding his little hand cannon, that was pretty awesome too. Did not expect that at a Ubisoft conference.
Well, your original writing thing here was the biggest surprise. Most people are going to respond their biggest surprise was Beyond Good and Evil 2 or 2 Metroid games, things like that. My biggest surprise was Miyamoto at Ubisoft. Like, that blew me away, seeing him on anyone else's thing. The only thing that would surprise me in this world more than that is him showing up on Microsoft or Sony's stage. I would probably shit my pants if that ever happened.
He's making rounds. He already did the Apple conference, so maybe.
I don't think he did
really
Treehouse
cool
this year.
Wait, sorry, Ryan and Brad, you both talked at the exact same moment. What?
Go ahead, Brad.
I was going to say, I don't think he was at Treehouse at all this year. Like, I watched probably 90% of it, and I didn't see him. I mean, Reggie only did one spot, too, so...
True, yeah, Reggie's thing was just the Metroid part, right?
Mm-hmm, yep.
Yeah,
pretty much.
The big faces of Nintendo really did not do Treehouse this year. But, I mean, they
cool
probably had other stuff. Go ahead.
I will speak at some point!
Nah.
Whatever. As cool as it was that Miyamoto did the Ubisoft thing, that was part of my biggest shock for E3, was just how awkward it was with everything. Because he and like the British guy with the white hair and everything with the guns, it was just it felt really weird. Like, my biggest thing was they've put so much production value into all the different presentations with everything. And yet, it seems like none of them know how to do, like, a live program. Not that we do it. We can judge by any shake of a stick. But, just a lot of weird cuts to people. A lot of watching the audience eat popcorn and pick their noses. A lot of instances where it would cut back to panels of people that did not know they were on camera. Like, that was my shock. Like, why wasn't that better?
I don't know. There was a lot of questionable things. I mean, yeah, a lot of the presentations I've noticed, Sony was definitely the main offender on it. It was just repugnant. I mean, every conference had its issues, but Sony had this focus on their crowd that was obnoxious. And the worst part about it was their crowd did not give a shit. They was probably like the deadest crowd of all of the major conferences. So it's like, you're the only one you're the one majorly doing this, and your crowd doesn't give a shit. Like, this looks bad for you. This is bad directing. But talk to this director and reconsider some shit.
Yeah, they didn't come to see like a theater
their
play.
shortcomings.
Pay your internet bill.
Pay your internet. My God, there's so many fucking issues there.
Upgrade from your free Juno account from the 1990s, please.
Is CompuServe still a thing?
Probably.
Let's see.
They're part of somebody, I think.
Yeah, CompuServe was acquired by AOL in 1998.
That didn't go well.
Wow. Thanks.
I looked it up. I was curious.
Okay, you looked at that. I was like, wow, that is a random bit of information to keep locked up in there.
Scary thing is, I actually knew that. I couldn't remember if it was 98 or 99. But I used to I ran a tech blog before the term blogging existed back when I was about 13 to 14 years old, so.
I made multiple Juno accounts so I could get 10 free hours multiple times a month.
Oh, I see. I had Juno accounts back before there was an internet service, back when it was just... when it was the email service. Like, it was the only way to get your own custom emails. Like, that was the only way to do it. So, yeah, I had so fucking many Juno accounts, I think. I think my dad owns stock in it, or not maybe that's stock. He owns some relationship with that company, so I just made I think I had 200-300 email addresses. And they were mostly...
That's why Mick Foley has so many personalities.
Possibly.
It's for all the free accounts.
It's all the free accounts. Yeah. Psycho Monkey 69, Psycho Monkey 42. Anyways, continue.
Oh, Lord.
We're continuing.
AOL lol the memories.
Oh, this little disc you get in the mail.
So I'm trying to think, as far as what is it, as game of show, you know, I didn't really have a defined one. For me, it would be like my game of show is not a game of show. It's actually the other thing I would say is my theme, the thing I enjoyed, and it's mostly was shown at Ubisoft. We discussed it last week, but it's the fact that a lot of developers, but again, primarily Ubisoft, brought fun. Yeah. Gaming looked fun this year, between whether it was Mario+Rabbids, Kingdom Battle, whether it was the clusterfuck, I don't know what drugs I'm taking, Super Mario Odyssey, so with Nintendo, whether it was even Assassin's Creed Origins, a game that I love but has not really been fun in a while. Like, every game for the Far Cry 5, just about everything looked fun to play, fun to experience, and fun to be part of. And it looked like the people there were having fun discussing it, even if it was absurd and quote-unquote cringe-worthy. That was my biggest takeaway / highlight of the show. Yeah,
I would have to mostly agree with that. I don't have a specific game of show or I mean, my big shock is going to be, Beyond Good and Evil 2. I was more surprised by that than I was Metroid, because Metroid, we've actually had one recently. And it's Nintendo. They're going to go back and do Metroid eventually. It's just a question of when.
Mm-hmm.
As far as picking a game of show, I feel like that's difficult for me, because I want to say something like Beyond Good and Evil 2, but that's not even a game we could play. I want to say something like Anthem, but that's, we saw 5 minutes of it. So I don't know where that really leaves me. There's a lot of stuff I'm looking forward to. A lot of stuff we covered last week with the Looks Pretty Award. I would just refer back to that, honestly. I'd be picking one of those again. So
yeah, no, I mean that's essentially what boiled down to for me as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
all right. Anybody else on big things?
No, that's about it for me. I mean, Josh already kind of played out my big things. I was really interested in the Metroid announcements. The fact, they just needed to shut people up. One that, they did. I don't even think they cared to do it just to do that, because, they just dropped, hey, we're working on Metroid Prime Forward. That's one of the few things that's not coming out this year they showed. And then, they dropped the other Metroid off on the Treehouse, which is kind of weird as well.
And it looks amazing. They should not have done that. They should have had that
they should do that at the forefront. And the thing is, I think they thought that wasn't enough for, Metroid fans. But point is, we're getting 2 Metroid games. All you people who have been bitching forever, put your money where your mouth is and actually purchase it this time.
I did. Well, I kind of did. I pre-ordered the Amiibos.
So,
well, don't pre-order, Brad. Shame on you.
It's Amiibos. You have to fucking pre-order if you want to get them.
He's not wrong in that regard. It's ridiculous, but no, if you want to be, it's collector's culture. If you want to be collecting stuff, you got to do that way. But on the regards to Nintendo showing off Metroid during the Treehouse, I was just gonna make a comment. My reasoning behind that, my feeling on that is Nintendo believed that, and rightfully so, that people were gonna watch their 20-minute, 30-minute Treehouse presentation, and then they were gone. They were not going to potentially stay around for the whole entire Treehouse coverage, so they wanted to continue having more stuff to be shown throughout those things to keep people coming back. The problem is, one, they were right. People weren't going to stick around for more than the presentation, potentially, because that's just how these things work. You're here for the presentation, and then a much smaller percentage of people actually watch all the coverage, but they're also trying to watch all the coverage across 20 different Twitch channels, doing it. Well, and then the other problem is they also didn't really make it clear they were going to announce more games during their continued coverage.
That's where I was about to say is, I'm not a marketing genius. I'm not a programming genius. But why not roll a 30 to 45 second clip at the end of your presentation that says, stay tuned, we'll have more to show, including title this, title that, title this. Show the title art for all these games that you're going to have up next over the next 3 days. and still put it in there. You're going to keep your audience longer just by doing that.
And you're going to keep the shock value as well. Like, it's not going to diminish the shock value to do it that way, to literally have like this sizzle reel that has 3 seconds of this Metroid 3DS game coming out, where people are like, wait, the fuck was that? Like, people are going to see 3 to 4 seconds of that and be like, well, I guess I'm watching Nintendo for the rest of the fucking week to figure out what the hell I just saw.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and because it would have worked on me, and I don't give a shit about Metroid, but I would have been curious enough, and we would have continued doing our coverage, because you and Jen would have refused to fucking cut the stream just until that came up.
If I had known it was there, absolutely, you're right.
Yeah. You know, we would have watched that weird Super Mario Odyssey drunken insanity, but then we would have been like, okay, well, I guess we're going to still stick around and watch whatever the hell's next, because maybe they're going to show off that, what was that we just saw? But, you know, Nintendo's things, Sony's things, and Microsoft every other year is either the hero of E3 or the scum of E3. This year they were like kind of more on the heroic side.
So speaking of big heroes, honestly, I've gotten this feeling, I could be wrong, but the general gaming public is like head over heels for Anthem. Which is something you wanted to touch on here concerning that and BioWare and Andromeda.
Yeah, pretty much. So, yeah, based on everything I'm seeing on Twitter, Facebook, a bunch of places, anywhere from Kotaku, everyone from Kotaku to
Chaco,
to Polygon to just about everywhere. Everyone keeps bringing up, holy crap, Anthem, can you believe that? What is it? What is this? What's this? Like, and a lot of questions. And it's not just clickbaity things. It seems like it's just, there's some genuine excitement about it. But there's also this very vocal crowd. And some of them are people who are genuinely concerned. And then a lot of them are just the people who like the shit on BioWare, who are like, oh, well, I guess this is why Andromeda didn't get the support it did when it was in development. Oh, I guess Andromeda, this is why the Mass Effect franchise is canceled. Oh, I guess this, you know, and all these other comments and statements and things like that. And it's kind of pissing me off because, for starters, people need to remember one thing. So first off, BioWare is a far bigger fucking studio than you think it is. BioWare is not the dinky little, you know, crew from Edmonton that it was 10 years ago. There's the Edmonton studio, there's the Montreal studio, which, yes, the Montreal studio was slightly gutted a bit, though that not gutted in the way that they were cleared out, but gutted in the way that people were shifted onto other projects, as happened at the end of Dragon Age Inquisition. That happens at the end of literally every major fucking game. But they have Austin, and then I think they have a West Coast one as well. I'm forgetting. I think it's technically BioWare Mythic, I want to say. But so they have all these different studios. So Edmonton, since Mass Effect 3 ended, has been working on Anthem. Montreal, who was responsible for, I think it was Mass Effect 3 Omega DLC, is the one who did Andromeda. And yeah, Andromeda has its issues, but two things. One, the game is actually good. It has it has issues. My God, does have issues. But, like, it's still a fucking good game. So there's that. I don't personally believe any development that was taken away from that game was literally people being shifted, maybe wanting to work on this new project. Maybe they really needed someone's expertise. There was stuff like that happening. The other major thing is, again, Mass Effect's not canceled. Mass Effect Andromeda is going to get DLC. The only thing that's going to stop Andromeda from getting DLC, and the only thing that's going to stop there being more Mass Effect, is people not buying the games and supporting the games and speaking well of it. That's what's ultimately going to do it. Which, if you don't believe in the game, don't buy it. That's a fact. You speak with your wallet. That's how all of this stuff works. So if you don't like it or don't want it, that's cool. Don't buy it. I support that. But if you're bitching that you're not getting DLC, but you were also a person who's bitching that you're not going to buy the game and stuff like that, because I've seen people who refuse to buy the game also bitching that there's not DLC. And it's like, well, then you are literally the problem.
I don't really think you can bitch about there not being DLC if you haven't played the game.
Exactly.
Why would you want something extra for the game if you don't know anything about the game?
That's my thing as well. Do I want DLC and things like that? And do I want a sequel to this game? You better fucking believe it. But I'd also rather watch them work to fix the existing problems, which is what the primary stuff they have been doing now for, close to several months, and they actually have been fixing problems. My God, the patches that have been coming out for that game have been fixing issues. Yes, creating new issues, because of course that happens. Should these things have been in the game at the start? Yeah. But we already know the game had a troubled development, though. From everything I'm reading from other developers, essentially, Jason Schreier wrote a whole behind-the-scenes piece on stuff. Explaining things, and I highly recommend it. It's one of the best written things I've ever read. However, there are developers from other AAA studios who are literally stating, like, yeah, that sounds like standard development, who are saying this doesn't even sound that weird. Any of the budget not being in stuff, or things getting changed at the last minute, all this stuff. So Andromeda may have had trouble development, it may not have, but that has nothing to do with Anthem. Or extraordinarily limited. So yeah.
I'm completely with you. I think maybe I'd say 1 to 15 people may have moved projects.
Yeah.
But that's not enough to have critically impacted Mass Effect that much. And then you know what?
A project of that size.
Yeah. At the end of the day, the thing that bothers me the most about Andromeda right now is the fact that people are still bitching about facial animations and using that as a reason to tell people not to buy the game. I saw it happen today.
Yeah, no, it's like I'm still seeing people saying that, one, most of the animation issues have been fixed. Two, that's really not a reason not to buy a fucking game. Unless you are buying a game where that is the central focus. Were some animation stuffs janky and problematic? Sure. But I played the entire game I played almost the entire game before those animation problems were fixed, and you know what? They weren't that bad. And while the human ones had their issues, the facial animations for the aliens were the best in the fucking series, and some amazing. My God, the emotions on a Solarian's face. Who the hell knew that was a thing? It blew my damn mind. Some of the stuff, the Krogans as well. It was amazing. So yeah, it's a thing. So I'm going to read this comment just on the Jason Schreier article. Phoenix K in our chat said, the article from Jason was great. I especially love the part where he compares Frostbite to being an F1 car for shooters. Having to modify that engine so heavily is complicated. Which is also the thing. They're trying to use an engine.
That's just what we said. It's pretty for screenshots.
Yep. It's an engine pretty for screenshots, and it's an engine that works for first-person shooters. It was not made for RPGs, but it was the EA mandate to use it. BioWare did the best they could. They had to literally completely custom create shit for Dragon Age Inquisition that then had to also be recreated for Mass Effect Andromeda because it didn't quite mesh up. So I personally think Frostbite's going to work a hell of a lot better for Anthem because it's a third-ish person shooter. It's still, there seems to be... It's kind of what it's looking like. So, and the other side of the complaints about Anthem is, looks like they're trying to copy Destiny and stuff like that. It's like,
no.
It's please. Well, okay, one, it's been development just as long. Cool. Second thing, who gives a shit?
Exactly.
Who the fuck gives a shit if it's copying Destiny?
Show me these loot games. I want them.
I love loot games. Show me more loot games so that forces competition and improves the loot games we have.
So I can stop playing Diablo 3. I keep going back to it.
No, but it's like, I'll never understand people who bitch about companies aping another person's product if they're going to do it well, or let's just take a shot in the dark potential of it being better even. Who knows? It could be worse. It could be better. It could be exactly the same. It could actually be a completely different game, but if a company is going to go out there and take a shot at it, and it's a company that's known for making good games, and they're going to put their own spin on it, I would like to play that game. I would like to see what they're going to do.
Give me Destiny Iron Man. I want it.
Yeah, oh my God. Well, I mean, let's just all... I think we all had the same reaction when he first jumps off a platform and starts flying. It's like, I'm finally getting an Iron Man game. Cool. It was amazing. I don't know how that flies. I don't know how much of that was... We said this last week. I don't know how much of that was controlled flight versus just how it was, versus a programmed scenario or something like that. But at least the concept of that controlled flight makes me all tingly.
Oh, then they hammer it home with the person just hovering at the end of it in the very Iron Man-like pose. I'm like, oh yeah, that's it. That's what game I want.
Yep. So, ultimately it's one of my more anticipated games, but I also, as we discussed last week, fucking hate the term anticipated with a fiery passion. So it got a looks pretty award last week because it looks pretty. And I'm excited to see what more comes of it. And I hate this contingent of BioWare fans that have to shit on everything BioWare does now because they're still pissy about the Mass Effect 3 ending, which I still wholeheartedly believe that is like 70% of the people are holding on to some childish notion about a 5+ year old game.
I stand by the fact that the Mass Effect 3 ending wasn't bad at all.
Yeah, I stand by that as well. I stand by that it wasn't particularly bad when it was the original thing, and when it was the expanded ending, it went from not being bad to being good. So it's like, whatever.
I mean, we went over it earlier this year when I finished it. I got the green ending. To me, the green ending is the true ending, the proper ending. I would have been okay with the red or the blue ending, but I wouldn't have liked them, but I'm okay with how that would have, ended the series.
Well, the argument I made about Mass Effect in hopefully the last time I can fucking talk about this ever, is simply put, Mass Effect 3, people got the wrong idea in their mind that the final 30 minutes was the ending. The ending of Mass Effect 3 was literally Mass Effect 3. That was the ending of the trilogy, because you had storylines that ended. You had storylines that completely ended a third of the way into the game. That was the ending of that storyline. You don't need, whether you cured the genophage or not cured the genophage to change something. Like if they gave you the original 56 promised endings, which they should not have ever done. That's one of the big issues, is Casey Hudson promising that. If they'd given that to you, all it would have fucking have been was what the original Dragon Age Origins did, which was just a slideshow where you read some fucking text about, things, and like the difference is 3 words are changed on each fucking slide. I liked that a lot with Dragon Age Origins, but that was also a game from 2008, 2009. Like I want an actual ending. So the blue, green, red, and then don't make a choice ending were fine for me. And there were subtle changes with different things. If Edie and Joker had a romance and you went synthesis, it changed that ending pretty fucking drastically.
Yep.
So you know what? People need to stop bitching. Especially about a fucking 5-year-old argument and then using that to relate to something from fucking modern times.
So quit your bitching and just play your games.
Why don't you tell us how you really feel?
Have fun, people. That's the thing we were talking about with the Ubisoft stuff. Fucking have fun. Just it's a hobby. It's fun. Unless you are a pro esports person kind of thing, have fucking fun. Or I guess if you're playing that persona as a Twitch streamer, you can also not have fun. But then why are you streaming is my question.
Why are you streaming Persona? You're not allowed to.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Up to a point.
Do we want to touch on any of these other topics, or saving for later? What do we want to do here? We got leftovers.
We've been going on for a little bit of an hour. Let's see here. We already kind of touched on big surprises. I want to actually talk about the big conferences for fans, investors, both, and as well as opening to the public. I want to discuss that at a later time. I want to bring that back up, and I want to actually poll some people on their thoughts on that, once time has gotten a little bit past. So otherwise, exclusive. I think exclusive could be its own topic. Honestly, I think we could do almost an entire fucking show on that. That's my opinion, at least.
We had a good rant on those a couple weeks ago.
Exactly. We can actually keep coming back to that. So I guess I'll do the Twitch roundup for the week, and then we could do outro. Does that work for you, Brad?
Yeah.
All right, Twitch roundup for the week. I have no idea if I'm streaming on Wednesday nights anymore. I legitimately do not fucking know. I would like to, but my God, is that just... It's the only time I have really to stream during the week, and it's just a shitty fucking time for me. So, exhaustion-wise, because lately I've been struggling to stay awake past 9. So... if I'm streaming, I will continue on Beat Cop. Hopefully the game doesn't crash this time for me. And stop spawning fucking cars, which makes paying out tickets really fucking hard, let me tell you.
Did you try Beat Cat yet?
Yeah, I had not tried Beat Cat yet. I do look forward to that in the future soon. But if I am streaming, that'll be roughly 10 p.m. Pacific on Wednesday night. I'm not sure who of these two gentlemen I will be doing the mental health breakdown with on Friday, but that will be Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific. So I don't know what the topic will be. We'll figure that out. I will not be streaming Saturday morning because I will be going down the Salt River in Arizona.
Ooh.
So I'll be spending 5 or 6 hours going down the river with a bunch of people.
Salty.
Yeah. Have I ever mentioned I have a fear of water that's not in a swimming pool or a shower? Like, I know I went down this river last year and it was totally fine, but like my anxiety is fucking driving me nuts about this right now. And then I won't be streaming that. And then Sunday morning, myself and probably Ryan and maybe Justin will be streaming something at 8 a.m. Pacific.
Yeah. Also, Justin, are we still doing Friday night?
Sure.
I knew that was
we've been
gonna
talking
happen.
about for weeks.
Yeah, things keep happening. Maybe. I'll give you a solid
We may or may
maybe.
not be doing. We may or may not be doing something Friday night after the mental health breakdown. We've got our buddy Vince from the You Almost Had It podcast, basically their podcast. They each Vince and the other guy, they try something they've never tried before, and Vince has expressed interest in trying to do some streaming and kind of see what we do with this. And just the stars have not aligned and we haven't been able to do it. And supposedly we're supposed to do this on Friday. So hopefully we can. If not, we'll let you know when we are going to do it.
Indeed. Yeah, no, so that'll look for that on all the social media places that Brad's about to discuss.
Oh, who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Who, me? Couldn't
No,
be. Yes,
not
you.
host Brad.
No, guest Brad. Brad, get back in here.
I don't know who I would ever... Who is a Brad that I would want to have on as a guest?
I don't know if he'd be... I don't think he'd actually be good, but Brad from Fonz PR is one of my favorite people on the face of the earth, but I don't know
Yeah, he
any
is.
other Brads. I'm trying to think if there's any other people named Brad that I know of. Other than my uncle, but that's, again, a terrible choice.
We've got a guy who runs a local coffee shop. He's really cool.
We just need to have the show of Brads.
I mean, I dig it. I'll watch it.
I'll legally change my name for 6 months.
Your wife would kill you.
There's way worse things she would kill me over than that.
Anyway, thank you all for joining us, be it live or recorded podcast format. We are here every week on Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, twitch.tv/constantly calibrating. We have all of our past content at youtube.com/concalpod. You can find us on Twitter at concalpod. And of course, the Facebook, the Instagram, Constantly Calibrating. No big deal there. Just look that up for us. Give us a like, follow. And if you need to talk to any of us or want to talk to any of us individually, you can grab us on Twitter. I am at OG Zenos, Josh is at Bear Punch, Justin is at The Aging Gamer, and Ryan is at RyDaddyF. So, again, thank you all for joining us, and until next week, we bid you good sign-off.